Imagine growing up surrounded by everything money can buy, without ever having to worry about tomorrow. Sounds like a dream, right? But what if that dream turned into your biggest nightmare? This is the dilemma that a billionaire mother faced when she realized that her biggest mistake was giving her children everything they wanted. Do you think being raised in luxury guarantees a full and happy life? Well, the reality is very different. When money stops being a problem, other, much deeper issues begin to emerge. This mother decided to do something that few would have the courage to do: completely cut off her children's privileges. The decision may seem cruel at first glance, but it is actually an act of deep love and a desperate attempt to save your children from themselves. In a world where the majority seeks to accumulate more and more, this story goes against the grain. Have you ever stopped to think that sometimes what we really need is to lose everything to find the true value of life? If you think you know everything about raising children, prepare to be challenged. What this mother did goes against everything that society preaches as normal, but perhaps it is exactly what we need to learn. Want to find out how this decision changed this family's life forever? Stay with me and see how, by taking everything from her children, this mother gave them the greatest gift of all. The story begins with a billionaire mother realizing that her children, raised in luxury, have no idea of the value of money or hard work. She observes, with a mix of frustration and sadness, how the easy life shaped their characters, making them dependent on the privileges they always had. It's a situation that many parents face, even if on a smaller scale, where the quest to offer the best ends up depriving their children of the most valuable lessons. Imagine a mother who, over the years, has done everything she can to provide comfort to her children, but now finds herself facing the reflection of her own choices. She asks herself, "Where did I go wrong?" While reflecting on this, the mother begins to notice how her children's extravagant lifestyle is hurting not only them, but also the family business. Children, used to having everything immediately, do not understand the effort required to maintain the wealth that has always been at their disposal. The mother begins to understand that, by meeting all of her children's material needs, she may have left aside the most essential teaching: the importance of fighting for something. It is as if the children live in a parallel world, where the consequences of their actions never reach them, creating a protective bubble that, sooner or later, will burst. This finding is not easy to accept. The mother, who was once proud to have provided everything for her children, now finds herself at a crossroads. She understands that despite all the money, her children are unprepared for real life. Upon realizing the negative impact that excessive comfort had on them, the mother begins to plan the next step. She knows she needs to do something drastic to change this situation, but she still hesitates, because the love she feels for her children makes her question whether she is prepared to make such a difficult decision. However, with each passing day, it becomes clearer that something needs to be done. Children not only waste resources, but also prove incapable of taking on responsibilities, whether in the company or in their personal lives. The mother sees this as a reflection of how the lack of challenges shaped their personalities. For her, it becomes clear that, without significant change, her children could end up destroying everything she took years to build. That's when the mother begins to consider the possibility of cutting off her children's privileges, forcing them to face the reality that has always been denied to them. And it is at this point that the mother, still pondering, opens her eyes to the seriousness of the family's financial situation. She knows that if nothing is done, not only will her children suffer the consequences, but also everyone who depends on the success of the family business. This worry begins to take over her, leaving her restless and determined to take action that will change everyone's lives, setting the stage for what comes next. Over time, the mother could no longer ignore the reality that was in front of her. The family company, once a solid empire, was on the verge of bankruptcy, and the main reason was the irresponsible lifestyle of his children. They wasted money as if it were infinite, without realizing that the source that financed their luxuries was drying up. The mother, in a moment of vulnerability, revealed that she had been diverting company resources to maintain her children's standard of living, which resulted in serious legal problems. That was the moment she realized something needed to radically change. When faced with this financial crisis, the mother realized that, no matter how painful it was, she could not continue covering up her children's mistakes. With each passing day, the situation worsened, and the prospect of losing everything I had built over the years became more real. She felt trapped in a vicious cycle, where, by trying to protect her children from the consequences of their actions, she only ended up fueling their irresponsibility. This was the breaking point. Either she took drastic action, or she would see her entire empire collapse. The revelation of the crisis was a shock not only for the children, but for everyone around them. The mother, who had always been strong and unshakable, was now in a fragile position, admitting that, to save what was left of the company, she would need to face her own children. It was a moment of truth, where the masks fell and reality came to light. The mother knew that, to save the company, she would need to cut off her children's privileges, something that, until then, seemed unthinkable. This was a period of great tension. The children, used to having everything they wanted, could not understand the gravity of the situation. For them, the idea that they could be without the luxury they had always known was unimaginable. The mother, in turn, struggled internally, torn between the desire to protect her children and the need to save the company. She knew there was no more room for half measures. It was time to make a decision that would change everything. The financial crisis became the catalyst for inevitable change. The mother was about to make a decision that would not only define the future of the company, but also the future of her children. The next step would be as difficult as it was necessary, and she knew that once the decision was made, there would be no going back. The time came when the mother, with no other way out, decided to completely cut off her children's financial support. The decision was met with shock and disbelief by them, who had never imagined living without the comforts to which they were accustomed. Suddenly, bank accounts were frozen, credit cards canceled, and luxury travel replaced by harsh reality. For the mother, this was a necessary, albeit painful, step. She knew that her children would need to learn, once and for all, the true value of money and work. The children, disoriented and confused, saw their world turned upside down. The mother, however, was determined. She understood that without this rupture, they would never develop the resilience necessary to face life's challenges. It's like a bird that, when pushed out of its nest, learns to fly. Thus, she pushed her children out of their comfort zone, forcing them to find their own paths. It was an extreme measure, but she believed it was the only way to prepare them for real life. In this new scenario, children were forced to deal with issues they had never faced before. How to pay the bills, how to live without the usual luxury. These questions, which had previously seemed irrelevant, were now urgent. The mother watched from afar, with a heavy heart, but firm in her decision. She knew that this was the moment when they would begin to understand that nothing in life is guaranteed, and that, to achieve something, it takes effort and dedication. It was the first time that the children felt the weight of responsibility. The impact of this decision was not immediate, but little by little the children began to realize that they would need to adapt to the new reality. Some, at first, tried to resist, believing that the mother would back down. Others, however, began to accept the situation and look for solutions. The mother, observing these changes, felt a mixture of sadness and hope. She knew that the pain of loss would be a catalyst for growth, and that, in the end, her children would be stronger because of it. With this drastic decision made, the mother was preparing for the next challenge, closely monitoring her children's growth and learning process as they navigated this new and unknown world. She knew that there would still be many obstacles ahead, but she was ready to face them, aware that this journey would be crucial for the future of the entire family. As the days turned into weeks, the children began to feel the full impact of their mother's decision. At first, reality seemed too harsh to bear. Accustomed to luxury and ease, the concept of hard work seemed strange and unfair to them. However, as time passed, something began to change. They realized that in order to survive, they would have to adapt. That's when the real learning began. The first step was to accept jobs that paid the minimum wage, something that, until then, seemed unthinkable. Working long hours for modest pay was a transformative experience for the children. For the first time, they understood what it meant to earn every penny, feel tired at the end of the day, and value each small achievement. This experience was not just a learning experience about money, but about life. They began to understand the value of small things that previously went unnoticed, such as a simple meal or a moment of rest. This new perspective made them reflect on how they had been living and what really mattered. This growth phase was marked by many challenges. There were moments of doubt when the children wondered if they would really be able to move on. However, with each obstacle overcome, they gained more confidence and independence. They began to see that hard work, although exhausting, brought a satisfaction that easy money could never provide. It was as if each day of work was a small victory, and each salary received was proof that they were capable of supporting themselves on their own. Over time, the children began to appreciate the lessons life was teaching them. They learned to deal with frustration, to persevere in the face of difficulties, and to value the effort required to achieve something. This new mindset began to change the way they saw the world and themselves. The mother, watching from afar, saw the growth of each of them with a mixture of pride and relief. She knew there was still a long way to go, but she was confident that her children were finally becoming the people she always wanted them to be. Now, with a new understanding of life and work, the children were ready to take the next step in their journey. They had learned that nothing worthwhile comes without effort, and that true success is built day after day, with determination and courage. With this new perspective, they were about to embark on a new adventure which would require everything they had learned so far. Inspired by their mother's life story, the children decided it was time to build something on their own. They remembered how their mother, starting from a simple hot dog cart, had built an empire, and that gave them the motivation they needed to move forward. They decided to open a restaurant, an enterprise that would require hard work, dedication, and, above all, family unity. For them, this new beginning was more than an opportunity for financial success. It was their chance to prove to themselves that they could create something valuable with their own hands. The decision to open a restaurant was not taken lightly. They knew that this type of business would require long hours of work, total commitment, and the ability to deal with unexpected events. However, instead of being intimidated, the children felt renewed excitement. For the first time, they were about to do something that didn't involve luxury, but had the potential to change their lives forever. The mother, upon seeing this initiative, felt that her decision to cut privileges had finally had the desired effect. In the process of creating the restaurant, each child found a role that fit their newfound abilities. One of them dedicated himself to managing the business, another to designing the space and menu, and the third to creating desserts. They realized that when they work together, they're able to overcome any challenge. This collaboration brought to light a new family dynamic based on mutual respect and admiration. They were finally building something they could be proud of, and that feeling was more rewarding than any luxury they had ever experienced. As the restaurant took shape, the children began to understand the true meaning of success. It wasn't just about making money, but about creating something of value that could impact the lives of those around you. They were determined to make the restaurant a reflection of everything they had learned, both in terms of hard work and gratitude for what they had. This new perspective made them value each customer, each dish served, and each challenge overcome along the way. With the restaurant finally open, the children and their mother felt they had reached a turning point in their lives. They knew this was just the beginning of a long journey, but they were ready to face whatever lay ahead. The experience transformed them, and what once seemed like a punishment became the basis for a promising future. Now, with a new purpose and a new worldview, they were ready to write the next chapter of their lives, knowing that true success is built on work, perseverance, and above all, unity. Now that you have followed this journey of transformation, the big question is, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Are you really prepared to apply these lessons in your life? Often, we are so used to the comfort zone that we forget that it is through difficulty that we truly grow. And you, are you willing to get out of that zone and face the challenges that will really lead you to success? Take a moment and reflect. What are you teaching the people around you, be it your children, friends, or colleagues? Are you providing them with an easy life, or are you truly preparing them for what life demands? Maybe it's time to rethink your priorities and start valuing what really matters. It's not just about money, but about character, resilience, and the ability to face adversity with courage. If you want to continue learning and developing, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, you will find more stories and lessons like this, which will inspire you to change your life and seek a better future. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. The first step towards transformation starts now.